If you're struggling to get matches on dating apps, it's not because these apps are rigged against you. It's because your profile is full of red flags that make it easy for women to swipe left. And I'm sitting on thousands of likes and matches across all the dating apps. So in this video, I'm going to break down the biggest dating profile mistakes so you can level up and get more matches on apps like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. So pound that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get into it. Now, the first and most common mistake is that you're not clearly showing what you look like. When women are swiping on these apps, the first thing they want to know is literally what you look like. Obviously, dating apps are appearance-based, so if women can't tell what you look like quickly, they're not gonna play the guessing game. They're gonna swipe left and move on to the next guy. For example, if the first photo on your profile is a group photo, you're basically expecting her to play Where's Waldo and guess which one of the guys you are. So never, ever, ever use a group photo at the very beginning of your profile. You also don't want to have photos on your dating profile that are taken from very far away. Don't expect women to zoom in on your photos and like squint to see what you look like. She's just gonna swipe left and move on to the next guy. And please, 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 for the love of God, don't use photos of the back of your head or even photos where you're looking so far to the side that she can't see your face. As a general rule of thumb, the first 2 to 3 photos on your profile should clearly show your face. And the easiest way to do this is to just get portrait style photos taken by someone else. The second common mistake that is causing thousands of women to just swipe left and reject your dating profile is that you're just using bad photos, bro. Most guys are just using the 5 to 6 least crappy photos in their camera roll, throwing them up on a dating app, and hoping attractive women are gonna swipe right. But if you've ever gone through a woman's camera roll, you'll see hundreds of virtually identical selfies, and half of the time she didn't even post one of those because she didn't like the way she looked in any of them. Women are insanely picky about their own photos, and they're looking at your profile with that same point of view. So if you're using low quality photos on your dating profile, from a woman's point of view, she's gonna think that you're not trying very hard or not taking the app very seriously, and she's just gonna reject you for that reason. You want to avoid old or low quality photos. A lot of the time you can look at an old photo and intuitively tell that it's old. So if you're using a smartphone photo from like 5 or 6 years ago, women are gonna tell that the photo's outdated and they're gonna wonder, okay, that's what he looked like a few years ago, but what does he look like now? For women, it's a massive red flag when you use old photos, so try to keep your photos up to date and current. You also want to avoid bad lighting in your photos. When I do photo shoots for my profile makeover clients, we take 90% of the photos outdoor during the day. If you're taking photos in a low light environment, like indoors or at nighttime, the camera has to work even harder to capture light and capture a photo of you. And what happens when cameras are taking photos in a low light environment is that the quality of those photos pumps way down. You also want to avoid using selfies on your dating profile. Selfies are never really ideal. A bad selfie is just a bad photo, but a good selfie would probably look even better if someone else just took the photo of you. Because of that, using selfies just comes off as low effort and generally unattractive to women. And sure, if you're a 10 out of 10 Giga Chad, do whatever you want, bro. This video is not for you. For the average guy who wants to level up on dating apps though and actually get quality matches, getting rid of your selfies is gonna be one of the best things that you can do to increase your results. So if you do wanna level up your photo quality, take photos outside, preferably during golden hour when the sun is nice and crispy, and get a friend or professional photographer to take the photos for you. If you are looking for a professional photographer in your area, WingMan Plus has a network of over 50 photographers all around the world. So hit the link down in the description of this video, apply for a profile makeover, and we can talk about costs and logistics of doing a photo shoot for you. But with that, let's get into mistake number 3, your bio. You could have the best photos in the world, but if your bio is too long, or even worse, it's cringe, women are still gonna swipe left on your profile. One thing you have to keep in mind is that women are swiping pretty quickly on these apps. So they're not going through your profile slowly and like looking at every photo in detail. They're quickly skimming through it and seeing, okay, do I like this guy or not? So if you have a long paragraph bio, women are not taking the time to read that. They're gonna see this massive wall of text and think to themselves, well, what is the path of least resistance here? Is it to spend 2.5 minutes reading about some guy, or just swipe left and move on to the next guy? You also want to avoid giving off too much information in your bio. And that's because men and women swipe differently. As men, when we swipe on dating apps, we're looking for things we like about her. She has a cat. I'm not really a cat person, but she's really cute, so sure, I'm gonna swipe right. Women, on the other hand, swipe completely the opposite way. They're not looking for things they like about you. They're looking for things they don't like. They're looking for common mistakes, red flags, and ultimately, one reason to swipe left, one reason to reject you. And the more information you include in your bio, the more potential reasons you're giving her to swipe left and reject you. Instead, you want to keep your bio and prompts short, funny, and intriguing. For example, in my bio, it says, I probably have more tattoos than you. And I'm sitting on thousands of likes and matches across all the dating apps. And when I match these women, they're constantly messaging me first, asking about my tattoos. So when it comes to your bio and prompts, less is more. If you're having a hard time thinking of funny, playful, or intriguing one-liners, I put over 50 sample bios and 20 sample prompts into my ultimate dating profile guide, the Matchbook. So if you do want access to this guide and you want to level up quickly, hit the link down in the description of this video. I'll put a link for the Matchbook right there so you can check it out for yourself. Okay, common mistake number 4 is looking too thirsty. Women can instantly sense desperation. When they're looking at your profile and you're coming off as way too horned up, it's gonna drive them away. A lot of women also wanna hook up, but if you're overly forward about it, especially before they even get to know you and see if they like you, it looks desperate, it looks low value, and most women are gonna reject you. If your bio talks about your kinky fetishes or your desire to find a cheek clapping buddy on these apps, it's gonna come off as creepy or try hard. Okay, so just try to avoid that. Also avoid over-sexualized photos of yourself. As a general rule of thumb, when you're on dating apps, you wanna keep the vibe playful and fun, not desperate. All right, mistake number 5, and this is a big one, is that your profile doesn't display social proof or an interesting lifestyle. The last thing you want is to look boring compared to the other guys that she's swiping on these apps. So if you only have photos of yourself in your profile, it's gonna make you look like a guy without any friends. When I'm shooting my profile makeover clients, I always make sure to include a social proof dinner photo. We found that this photo actually makes women less flaky when it comes to setting up plans and making a date happen. I think that's because by displaying social proof, it shows that you're not a loner, you're not a weirdo, you have friends, you have a social circle, and people enjoy being in your company, which is a massive green flag to women because they're meeting a stranger off of the internet. So if at least that stranger has some level of social proof, it makes her feel a lot more comfortable that he's not a lone wolf weirdo. So what I would recommend is including a social proof photo later on in your profile after you've already established what you look like in the first few photos, and also including an action shot in your profile. This could be you playing a sport in a cool location you visited while traveling, or just generally doing something cool. Okay, mistake number 6. A lot of guys just have poor photo composition. I'm talking the angles, the cropping, and the posing of their photos. A bad camera angle or pose can ruin an otherwise perfectly good photo. When someone takes a photo of you and they're holding the camera like this, looking down at you, it's actually gonna make you look shorter. So when your friends are taking photos of you, make sure they squat down and take an upward angle like this. It's gonna make your legs look longer, it's gonna make you look taller and more dominant. Also, crop your photos properly, okay? If you're taking an old photo where your arms are around 10 dudes and then you just crop all those people out and now it's just you like in the frame with people cropped out, it looks awkward. Women are gonna think like, man, did this guy just have no photos of himself that he uploaded this one? That just comes across as lazy. All right, mistake number 7 is probably the biggest and most important mistake of the video, which is not optimizing your profile for the algorithm. The thing is, dating apps prioritize high quality profiles. So there's a few common mistakes you want to avoid. The first one being not verifying your profile. A lot of women actually use a filter on their dating app where they won't even see profiles that aren't verified. So if you're sitting there right now and your profile doesn't have a blue check mark, this is like the lowest hanging fruit for you to just level up your profile quickly. It takes literally a second and will instantly boost your matches. A lot of guys think that they're shadow banned on dating apps, but 9 times out of 10, these guys who are shadow banned just have a profile that most women would never swipe right and match. And because dating apps are 70% male and 30% female, they're in a constant battle to give women such an amazing experience to keep these women on the apps. Dating apps are really throwing the top 20% of male profiles at women. And the other 80% of men without optimized profiles are basically invisible on these apps. So if your profile sucks and women are constantly swiping left on it, the apps are gonna show your profile to fewer and fewer and fewer women until the point where you feel like you're shadow banned. But if you use the advice in this video and in the matchbook, you should have no problem optimizing your profile and getting a solid boost in the number of matches you're getting on Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. So don't forget to check out the matchbook in the description of this video. Pound that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.